Hey there, welcome back to the Mindfully Masculine podcast. This is Charles. All right, in this episode, Dan and I will continue to review and discuss Self-Care for Men by Garrett Muntz. Specifically this week, we will get into some hairdryer propaganda. Should we be using hair dryers? Why should we be using hair dryers? What is a hair dryer? How does a hair dryer work? We will answer these and other not so important questions during the episode. Please follow or subscribe or like on your chosen podcast app and check out our full video episodes on YouTube. Just look for Mindfully Masculine. Thanks and enjoy.
Good afternoon, Charles. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay. I saw you hit a couple extra buttons there, so I was a little confused. Wasn't sure if I needed a pause or not.
No, what I do is I start the camera just on you.
Okay.
And then after you're done saying hello is when I hit the auto switch button so that it doesn't switch back to me while you're in the middle of saying hello.
Got it.
It does that sometimes, but Now I've got the system that works except when I forget to turn auto switch on and we get 4 minutes in and have to start over from scratch because...
nobody wants to be looking at me the whole time. That's for sure.
You got to give people some options. Okay, so this time we're opening the podcast and we're going to do our normal, hey, Dan, how are you? I'm good. Charles, how are you? Except today we're doing Are We Ill because we haven't talked at all. I got here.
Yeah.
We immediately got into our books and then we walked in here.
Yeah.
So,
you're living on the edge here. You're letting go of the control here.
You could tell me anything.
Oh, really? Anything.
So what's new? With the podcast.
Click. Yeah. No. What's new? Holy cow. Yeah. Few things. I started on a new insulin pump for
That was exciting.
my diabetes that actually is a closed loop system. It's supposed to
Like Succession.
He stole that from diabetics, man. That is not the kind of closed loop I ever want to get involved with. Anyway, yeah. So what's cool is it basically is reading my blood glucose from my sensor every couple of minutes, and it adjusts my level of insulin release up or down based on what my sensor is doing. It's got a sophisticated algorithm, so it can predict where my blood sugar is going and stuff like that. What's great is it's definitely made an improvement in terms of my overall levels, but while I was exercising, kept it completely low and stable the whole time, which doesn't ever happen. Normally it runs a little bit higher. And then also at night, it's been much better as well, more stable. So I actually slept through the night, 1 out of 2 nights, which is normally it's like once a year. Wow. But since I had it, it's been for like the last week. So I'm excited for it. Also, I think it's going to help a little bit with my hunger issues, eating at night, all these other things. By keeping my blood sugar stable, it's going to make things a little bit easier to control. A lot of times I treat my low blood sugar with food instead of glucose tabs, a little bit of sugar, which is the best way to treat it.
Gotcha.
Food, eating and stuff. I was a little concerned hooking it up, but it's been great because some people complaining about it. It's been fantastic for me.
Okay, so this thing, it's a device that stays stuck in you for like days at a time. How does it work?
2 days. So there's 2 components. One is the pod, which actually releases the insulin and communicates with a glucose sensor, which monitors my glucose.
Okay.
So the 2 communicate, and the pod reads the value from a glucose sensor and sees, is there a trend going up? Is my blood sugar going up? Is it going down? Based on that, it will release the appropriate amount of insulin for the base rate. It's called a basal rate throughout the day. Okay. When you eat food, you need to tell it, okay, how many grams of carbs you're having, how much protein you're having, and then it'll give you a little bump of insulin to cover up the meal time.
That's pretty smart. Do you do it like on an app or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually, so it's coming to an iPhone app. It's already on the Android phone, but they give you an Android phone. So I'm carrying like 2 phones now, but at least the old one, it looked like a pager from the 80s.
Very small.
So this one looks like a phone at least, and it operates just like a phone app does.
I can't believe they would release something like that without, like they'd bring it to market without an iOS app.
People have been asking for an iOS app for years from this, but it's a lot of FDA regulations and the iPhone.
Which would lead
Apple.
Think that Apple would get it done faster than
you think, but
the Android market.
But I think it's also Apple has its own restrictions and alerts and everything else like that, and all these hoops you need to jump through. And they're always doing development. So I think on the company side, it's got to be tough to keep up with development.
Yeah.
That's been my exciting world. And I just got Botox.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering talk about that.
Yeah, I don't care. I went because I had these thick lines in my head and my forehead, and I've always had them for years and years. I had gotten it done 25 years ago. I really didn't need it, but I still had those lines. Yeah. It didn't do much at the time.
Right.
One time, one doctor, 25 years ago, technology's changed. So I went yesterday, and in a few days, I should start seeing a little bit difference. But I think I see a little bit of difference, like on the side of my eyes and underneath a little bit.
How many injections total do you think there were?
So total injection. So I got 60 units, which apparently is quite a bit, from what I understand.
Billboard.
Yeah,
like it's $8 a unit.
I got a good deal from a friend of a friend.
Okay, gotcha.
I did not pay that much.
Okay, so
then like Costco, when you buy in bulk, that's the price goes.
Yeah, got a oil drum full of Botox.
Basically, yeah. So it was probably, they used tiny little insulin needles, and honestly, it felt like when you like pop a zit on your, like a deep zit on your head.
Oh yeah,
that's what it felt like. So it didn't hurt nearly as much as like my acupuncture does. So I probably got 20, 25 spots.
Okay,
injection. Actually, and it took maybe 15 minutes.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Now, do they rub any kind of a numbing agent on you first, or
no? Just cleaning. Just
because I would think with there's not a lot of sub Q on your forehead. You're basically going.
I don't even think they're going in all the way, and these are tiny little needles, and she's pinching it up, so she's making. And I got some skin to pinch.
Okay,
you can see here.
Yeah.
And dude, it was not bad at all, really.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see what it comes out to. So the couple rules, like you should be like lying down for the first 4 hours afterwards.
Oh,
no drinking alcohol for 3 or 4 days afterwards.
What are you going to do?
I'm not drinking alcohol till Friday.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to a wine festival on Fridays. But other than that, I've had no bruising. I was like a little bit swollen, couple of lumps. I sent you a picture of that yesterday.
Yeah.
I had a little bit, but that was like 2 minutes right afterwards. And then
when you sent me that, at first I was like, am I supposed to say, wow, this looks so much better? I can't tell it. I can't see a bit of difference.
So, I couldn't either. And I took.
So when you told me it was going to take it,
yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't need the lie.
I would have.
I know.
I've been like, man,
Yeah, I think it got ripped off.
I think it got worse.
Yeah. You look like you got stung by a bunch of bees. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm curious to see how much this smooths out here, but I think I do see a little bit of improvement, like on the sides already. So.
Now, do you know the difference? I think it may have been in our book already. I just didn't pay attention to it. Or maybe I was reading a website about it. The difference between what Botox does and what fillers do?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So fillers stay there. Botox is a poison that kills your nerves kind of thing, helps your muscles.
And so your nerves eventually regenerate and everything works the way it used to work before your shots. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So it could last anywhere from just 3 months to 6 months. And the lady I went to said, one of her clients who drinks a lot of alcohol, it only lasts like a month and a half to her. So I don't know exactly why alcohol does that. But yeah, the fillers, a lot of times it's done in the lips, and those just stay where they are. And that's also, I think, maybe 6 months to a year from what I understand, but they just plump everything up. I
thought that was also used, though, when you have creases, like fillers.
They might
go into the crease.
So
and, like,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, so I walked in there. I'm like, I'm in your hands. You're the expert. You do what you need to do. Tell me how many units you want to use, whatever that is. And and she's, listen, you could also, I was thinking about getting like under my eyes. She's like, no, you don't want to do that. She's like, we want to try to make it as natural as possible. She's like, if you do your like above your eyebrows, you're going to look surprised. And for women, for anybody, it changes the shape of your eyebrows. And what she was saying, for women, it doesn't look that bad. For men, she's
yeah, I've heard that advice. When it comes to even just trimming your eyebrow hair, is for men, always trim the top of your eyebrow. If you start shaping the bottom of your eyebrow, that's when it starts looking like you have lady eyebrows.
So that's what she was alluding to.
Okay.
I trust you, and so far I've been happy.
Interesting. I wonder...
See what happens in a week or two.
Yeah, I wonder, like, when we're going to record some episodes on Sunday for our special series, and then we're doing like 3 recordings a week for the next 2 weeks or so.
Marathon.
I know. And I'm wondering if I'll be able to notice your eyebrows not being in the game as they usually are. Like they're taking the day off.
It's hysterical. Yeah. We'll see. She said I might need more. And my guess is, just because everything was so thick here, I probably would need a little bit more from the end.
How long do they say to wait before you go for round 2?
She said about a month.
Oh, okay.
So, give it, about a month. So she also does facials and stuff. And she's got her whole little clinic over in Phoenix Salon. It's right around the corner here.
Oh, okay. I've also given into vanity, not quite as extremely as you have, but I did, as I talked about on a previous episode we recorded, I did go out and buy all the Crest white strip branded stuff. I got the mouthwash, I got the toothpaste, and I got the white strips with the little LED light. And I actually, man, it is hard to find an hour and 5 minutes. That's how long the whole thing takes for the white strips. You put them on for an hour and then you do the LED light for 5 minutes. And that's an hour and 5 minutes that I can't be drinking coffee. And during my waking hours, that's a pretty big stretch for me to not have, because I keep travel mugs everywhere, like insulated double-walled travel Yetis and Ozark Trail mugs and whatever brand, the one I got off Amazon most recently. And
yeah,
I almost always have a hot cup of coffee in very close proximity to me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so today I drove over here. Basically, as soon as I got out of the shower, I put the white strips on. Then I got dressed, did my hair, got dressed, got in the car, did not go to Wawa to get a coffee refill. It just drove straight over here and timed it just perfect so that right as I was turning my car off was when I was taking the LED light out of my mouth and the strips off my teeth and putting them in the garbage bag and coming in. And then I immediately, the first thing I did was made a cup of coffee because holy cow, I need some coffee. But gums are a little sensitive. Today's only my second day. And
so what?
I only started it yesterday.
How many days in a row are you supposed to do that? Are you doing?
They say
with the UV light you're doing every day?
Crest says, and the instructions basically, if the pain is beyond just a little inconvenient, take 2 or 3 days off and then restart it.
Okay.
But I really only felt it when I was brushing my teeth in the shower. I was really going after them because that's where I rinse with the mouthwash, which is alcohol free, so it doesn't give me the burn that I like. But I rinse with the mouthwash, then I brush with the teeth whitening toothpaste from Crest. Then I rinse with the mouthwash again to get all the toothpaste out of my mouth. And while I was brushing, I was like, man, this is definitely a little sore, like I've done something to myself. But if I do it, if my brushing tonight is also sore, and then tomorrow morning's brushing is sore, then I might say, okay, I'm going to take a day or two off. But the plan is, if you're not experiencing any issues like that, you could just roll through 20 days straight.
20 days?
Yeah, that's for the 34 shade improvement that they put on the box. It's use one treatment a day for 20 days.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering how that would compare for an hour on a Zoom whitening at a dentist.
I don't know.
Price-wise, it's probably much cheaper.
Much cheaper. Yeah,
think of all that extra coffee you could be drinking.
So I can find an hour, either when I drive to Jacksonville or St. Pete, I'll just skip filling up my coffee before I leave, or on my morning walk, which it's been convenient to. Last couple of days, I've done the 3-mile circuit in Winter Garden that just works out really well for my geography. I could just not carry my coffee cup with me, and that would cover me, and which would also be convenient because usually I finish, the coffee's gone in the first mile, and I'm just walking around with an empty mug for 2 miles.
There you go.
So it would probably that would probably make the most sense, is to just on my morning walk skip the coffee and do the teeth whitening instead.
Yeah.
The other thing is I bought some new clothes. I got the pants I'm wearing, a new pair of J. Crew chinos.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got my shoes for my European vacation, and I've started wearing them and breaking them. And I also got some fancy new socks. Let's see if I'm flexible enough to show these off.
Oh, look at those.
Yes.
That's like a piece of art.
I got to hit the button so it switches back to me. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, so I got some funky socks from Amazon.
Nice.
And a pair of these Cole Haan 0 Grand wingtips. That I've got another pair of those that I wear in the summer. They're blue suede with a white sole. These are British tan with a Java dark sole.
Okay.
And I think that they are formal enough so that an outfit like this will be pretty much what I will wear when I'm gallivanting about Germany and the Czech Republic and Austria, and where else am I going? Hungary. Yeah. So that's, basically.
It's one of my favorite songs. I'm going hungry.
That is that is legit one of my favorite songs. Yeah. I love that Temple of the Dog. Oops. So yeah, it's good.
Okay.
This is the outfit for Europe in the summer, as I've read online. So I'm starting to break in the shoes though. They're super comfortable. I don't even think they need breaking in, but I'm breaking them in anyway because I like the way they look. But what else?
That's good.
I think that's about it. Let's do this very quick chapter.
Yeah.
Boy, I had flashbacks to Atomic Attraction, where the author is I like this guy a little bit better, obviously. I think he's a bit more well-meaning, but I do feel like he's trying to sell me on some nonsense, and I'm not buying. This chapter in Self-Care for Men is called You Should Be Using a Hairdryer.
Okay.
To which I respond, the hell I should. Okay. He suggests that hairdryers are an important tool in getting the look that you're craving with your hair. I would tend to disagree, because even when I had longer hair, I didn't find it necessary to use a hairdryer. And now my hair, I'm wearing it quite short again, and I am not interested in using a hairdryer. But the problem I really have with what he says here is a blow dryer can change the game for even short hair. And let's get real. If there's a tool that will get you out of the door faster in the morning, why aren't you using it? I need to understand this math, how adding something additional is going to make things faster. Like, what would a hairdryer replace that I'm currently doing? 6 seconds of this with a towel?
Or literally sitting there with on the edge of the bed, letting the hair dry on its own. What is the base?
Yes.
What's the control? What's the control in this guy's experiment?
Maybe other people have hair where when they get out of the shower, even after they towel dry it, it's still very wet. And
so
I don't know who these guys. I don't know if it's true though.
To let this guy off the hook, I'm thinking,
yes, please.
This is going to be guys with hair that is longer than even you had at your longest length, right? So
I got to take a look at his hair now.
He mentions pompadours, and I had to look that up. I didn't know what that was.
Oh, you did?
And I didn't realize. But if you Google that, the images that come up, those guys have hair that are much longer than I've ever seen you have it. And
yes, a pompadour would be much longer than what I've ever had.
Right. I mean, he does mention for short hair. So
is that guy using a hairdryer? This is the author. Is he using a hairdryer? And if so, why?
Maybe he invests in hair drying facilities. Listen.
Yeah. Maybe his original last name was Sassoon.
Mr. Vidal.
Mr. Revlon.
Mr. Revlon, yes. Yeah, that's the thing. With the pompadours, I could see would have the big coif up front. I guess Elvis and Jimmy Dean had that.
Yeah, if you invested in a hairstyle like that,
and needing a hairdryer,
you were going to have to do a lot of things besides just a hairdryer before you leave the house looking the way you want to look.
With short hair like we have or he has, there's no way.
Yeah, I would say even when my hair was long, it was maybe just a little bit longer than what your hair looks like right now.
Yeah, no, and I never use a hairdryer. And the thing was, okay, so here's the other reason why I don't like using a hairdryer. I just towel dry it a little bit, is because when I use the product in there, I like my hair a little bit damp so that it spreads through the hair.
But he still says to put the product in while the hair is still damp. That might be the next chapter, though.
No, yeah, that's a good point.
And then so you put it in while it's damp. So I guess you you squeeze the water out with your towel.
Yeah.
Then you put the product in.
Yeah.
And then you use the hairdryer. Okay, here's another way he might be right and I'm wrong. And I think we talked about this in the last episode. The amount of aggression and force that I use to towel dry my hair could be doing some damage.
Yeah.
So it's possible that if I just put the towel on my head and squeeze the water out and then use the hairdryer, I might not be hurting my hair as much as I am currently.
Okay.
But my hair is still pretty thick, and when I get out of the shower, it is soaking wet. And so but when I use a dry towel on it and I go back and forth a few times, it goes from being soaking wet to being almost dry already.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I have white towels. I never see hair in my towels after I...
That's true. I don't either. That point, yeah.
And I'm not seeing it on the ground anywhere.
I forgot to tell a story about last night.
Yeah.
I went to a party last night at my friend Leah's house.
Okay.
We were celebrating our mutual friend. Well, she's mostly my friend, but you know her too. Tracy had her first role in a network television show.
Oh, wow.
We all gathered
at
Leah's. Yeah, we all gathered at Leah's house to watch it on a show called Will Trent on ABC. She plays a nurse who works at a prison.
Oh.
And so she had lines and everything. It wasn't just standing in the background.
Good for her.
It was a part of the story. And so we all went to Leah's house to watch it, and it was a good time. I like having somebody famous who returns my calls. I didn't think I'd ever get there.
You finally made it.
I finally have. I finally have a friend I can say is on TV for cool reasons, not legality things. Okay, so anyway, I'll probably cut that out, put it into the intro, and just reorganize it so that it makes sense. But I wanted to say that was a fun party, fun the last time I was at Leah's house was almost exactly 4 years ago, where we had a party there right after the government was like, you guys can't have parties because of COVID.
Oh, nice.
And so we posted a picture of all of us there, and there were 10 of us. And the rule was like no gatherings of more than 10 people.
Okay.
And so we posted that, and a bunch of people were like, you guys shouldn't be having parties. And I was like, excuse me, there were only 10 of us. And they were like, but who took the picture? I was like, good point. It was my friend Sean's daughter. Oh, person number 11.
We kicked her out.
Yeah. But the onset of COVID is almost exactly 4 years ago.
Wow.
That blows my mind.
Yeah.
In some ways, it feels like a decade. And in some ways, it feels like last year. Okay, back to the hairdryer propaganda. Sorry. Okay, in case you do have long hair, in case you want to use one of these, we're going to take you through some of the basics. If you want to get started, if you want to try it out. Number one, you can start by using one at your gym. I believe the LA Fitnesses have one that you can just use by the sinks.
Sometimes it depends on.
There's a lot of variability there, but I'm pretty sure I have seen them. So that's one way to try it without buying one. But then again, to buy one on Amazon, I have no doubt that you can get them between $10 and $20. They're probably really cheap. And you can probably get them cheaper on eBay if you want to get a used one. So the parts of a hairdryer, there's going to be a heat setting, which is usually low, medium, high. There's going to be a fan setting, which is also probably low, medium, high. A concentrator is the little thing that narrows the air, the little slit. A diffuser is a thing that has these little fingers and stuff, and it basically puts a more wide area, so it's more like you're just letting your hair air dry. The cold button is what you can press temporarily to turn the heater off so that it's only like basically a fan blowing on your head. Yeah,
and that's something I did not realize what the whole cold button was for. I've always seen those. I guess it's to lock in the style. I guess that's the...
Yeah, when the hair cools down, it's going to be less pliable, and so that makes sense. We'll talk about in the next chapter, I'm really not a big fan of any hair products that make my hair crunchy in the slightest, or so basically gels, some pomades, hairspray, absolutely not. Anything that makes, like, when I touch it, it feels crunchy.
Yeah.
Or if I were to grab my hair and do this, a whole bunch of like white
crap
stuff comes out. Yeah, but we'll get into that. So part of it is I don't know that I'm using the kind of product that would really benefit from a hair dryer. But I think the main thing is the length of my hair. I go with a number 1 on the sides and a tapered neck, and the top is maybe between half an inch and an inch, I'd say.
Yeah,
of hair.
That length, you really just not.
There's really not much to do. So I towel dry it. I put in a little bit of moisturizer and then a little bit of, I believe it's called forming cream. And that's it. I'm done. But so if you're going to use a hair dryer, step 1 is to comb out tangles. Again, I don't think either of us are getting tangles when we...
Not at this length.
Yeah. Apply your product to wet hair. Don't hold it too close to your head. These things get hot up to 140 degrees. So anything closer than 6 to 8 inches is going to either burn your skin or burn your hair. So mind that. And I have seen a stylist, and we're going to talk about barber versus stylist. I have seen stylists use a hair dryer on my hair to direct my hair with the airflow. So basically they would use one of those brushes where it's like round and there's brushes on all sides of it. And they would use that, like when I had hair long enough to part, they would use that to make the definition between the top that parted this way and the side that parted this way.
Makes sense.
And they would use the hair dryer with that little round brush to make that happen. So that's one of the things he suggests. So here's the thing. As much as I enjoy this book, I would say books are not the way to learn about things like this. YouTube videos are the way to learn about things like this.
For sure. Because you need to be able to see pictures and methods and techniques, and absolutely.
I thought of the other reason that I don't really entertain the idea or the possibility of using a hair dryer is because I can't listen to things while I'm blow drying.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm getting ready, there's either a podcast, an audiobook, or music on. And if I was just standing in front of a mirror using a hair dryer for any purpose, then I'm not listening to anything at the time and that feels like wasted time to me.
Yeah.
Even more than just standing around blow drying my hair feels like wasted time. But I'm doing that and I'm not listening to something I want to be listening to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I even feel the same way in the morning. I listen to a little podcast and my electric toothbrush. Sometimes my toothbrush is too loud.
Yeah.
And it starts to get a little annoying.
Yeah.
This up, I'm pausing the toothbrush. I'm rewinding because there was a good spot that I just missed. honestly, I use a hair dryer mostly to dry stains from shirts. If I've spilled something on myself and I don't feel like washing the whole shirt or taking it off and just rubbing that one spot, I'll use a hair dryer to kind of dry it off after I've cleaned.
Interesting. So it's more of a tool than a grooming thing. Yeah, I used to have a hair dryer that I only used for the purpose of defrosting my freezer in my RV. And then I found out that my garment steamer does a way better job of defrosting my freezer than my hair dryer did. So I was like, why do I need both of these things? So I donated the hair dryer. Now I just have the garment steamer.
Nice.
Although my new refrigerator, the one that you and I had that great expedition to go find, I have not had to defrost that once.
It's a newer one.
Yeah.
That might be a self-defrosting fridge.
I don't think they advertise themselves as, I think they advertise it as, yeah, occasionally you're going to have to defrost this manually, but it has like a drip pan underneath the freezer part.
Oh.
And sometimes when I pull that out, there's like a frozen sheet of ice and I just put that in the sink and then put the pan back in and that's it.
Oh.
But I don't because my old one, every 6 to 8 weeks, I would have to take all the food out and defrost it. And now I don't have to on my new one that I got.
Yeah.
Like getting the time back.
It makes you think you should have cut your old one in half with a chainsaw much earlier than you did. So
that was quite a day. Okay. A couple of hacks for hair dryers. Use the cold setting. Like we said before, it locks it in. The highest heat is not always the best heat. That makes sense when you're talking about your hair and your scalp. I always use the highest heat possible when it comes to drying clothes. But I will, because it feels like it gets it done faster, but I'll take his advice that if I was to blow dry my hair, not to use the highest setting, the lower medium is better. Flip your head to dry the hair underneath. Again, I think if you're a long-haired hippie,
better get into yoga and do some headstands.
Yeah.
So flip.
Number one, if you're a long-haired hippie, you probably hate our guts, and I can understand it. You're justified. But number two, don't just blast the hair dryer at the top of your hair. Also, do different things to get to the bottom of your hair too.
Yeah, I have seen people, mostly women, flip their head over. And I, you know what? I remember noticing it. Never really thought about why until now. I'm an educated man.
Well, let's not go crazy. He talks about the messy textured look. If you're going for that, use fingers to shape your hair instead of a brush. I generally don't use a brush. I'll use a comb if I have my hair longer and I want a nice sharp part. Then I'll use a comb, but for the most part, it's just fingers.
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day as I was licking my plate with my fingers. These tools that we have built from nature are unbelievable. Like a spoon, you can get all this stuff, but if you really want to get all the good oil at the end of a meal off the plate.
What are we talking? What were you eating?
What was I have? I made some chicken thigh that I had broiled in the oven.
Okay.
And I put a little oil on top to help crisp up the skin. I like eating with the skin. And so there's a little oil left over off the plate. And there was some salt and some spices that I had put on the chicken that was left over on the plate as well with that oil. Deliciousness. And I had some clean fingers and I was just like, you know what? I could not get all this little bit of oil and spices up without anything other than bread. But going low carb, fingers.
Not your tongue. You didn't just pick up the plate and just take the middleman completely out?
No, I do have some manners. And come on. I'm going to use my fingers.
Speaking of bread, man, I saw somebody's advertising.
I got the craziest stairs at Capitol Grill, by the way.
I was going to say, where was it? So you up by a dumpster behind the gas station.
I got kicked out.
This guy's like, sir, please show some decorum.
You know where this is?
Yeah, I saw an ad for some bagels that were 0 net carbs.
Okay.
How could a bagel
the whole
get down to
carbs? I don't think there's a lot of laws or rules.
Okay, so anybody can say something's net.
Yeah, so between fiber and sugar alcohols and stuff like that, you could basically do some funny math and make everything like 0 net carbs.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the problem is everybody's body digests things slightly differently. For one person, it might not be any net carbs, and for another person, it might actually
be all 7 or all 8 or whatever.
And your body will metabolize differently. And then it's dangerous for diabetics because the glucose impact that you have, your blood sugar spike is different based on those things as well. Just because it says 0 net carbs doesn't mean it's going
to treat it like it's actually 0 carb.
Yeah. You got to be careful with that stuff. So.
Yeah, I know that the folks.
It probably doesn't taste very good either.
I would imagine that was the thing. I was like, how could you do this in a way that I would tolerate? And the answer is you can't. But yeah, a lot of people on the Keto Chow support board have run into that frustration of net carbs, and they basically just said, I'm just switching to carbs. I'm not worried about net. I'm worried about actual carbs.
And I feel like when I do that too, my level of satisfaction goes up when I have real carbs, like a smaller piece of real carbs.
Oh, gotcha.
Have the net carbs and stay under a certain limit. And especially if you're trying to stay in ketosis, it doesn't work very well going with trying to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, we have been all over the map today.
What map?
Exactly. The lesson is give a hairdryer a shot if your hair is not super, super short. The other thing is he does refer to the hairdryer as being a tool that the barber uses. Not mine. My barber does not wash my hair after the haircut, and he only uses the hairdryer to get like the pieces of hair off my collar.
Yeah, my hairstylist does wash my hair after the haircut and just towel dries my hair because she's going to put product right in it that does a hairdryer.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of when I would go to sport clips and such. Did I ever see anybody's hair getting a hair? I don't think I have.
I don't think so.
They have not a ton of guys go in there with long hair though.
No, they have them there. They definitely have the hairdryers there, but it's never been used on me, and I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't remembered, I can't hear the sportscaster because of this person's hairdryer or this person getting their hair dried. I don't know that it happens, but anyway, so I like that this guy told me things about hairdryers I didn't know, but I don't see myself trying this one out. That's where we're at. All right, thank you very much, Dan. You and I will take a quick break, and then we'll start recording the next episode, which is going to be this next one about hair product or barbers versus stylists. I forget.
Products, I believe.
Okay. Yes, I think you're right. Hair products and how to use them will be our next topic. All right. Thanks very much.
See you.
Bye. Wow. You made it through the whole thing. So you must like us at least a little bit, in which case you should definitely follow or subscribe to our show in your chosen podcast app. Thanks. We'll talk to you next time.